Alright people, so welcome to Jumbo IAS and welcome to UPSC Prelims Phoenix batch. In this batch, we revise the entire syllabus for UPSC Prelims examination. That includes both static as well as current affairs. Now currently we are going through the static portion, and in static portion we are currently covering modern history, and today is day 7 of modern history. Now the thing is that, well, as far as your daily targets for modern history are concerned, today we are going to be discussing the end road, the final road towards independence. Okay, so it includes Indian nationalism from 1939 to 1947 and the negotiations for partition and all these things, plus some revolutionary activities like Subhash Chandra Bose's Indian National Army, all these things. So from 1939 to 1947, all the important developments in the nationalist period, in this period of modern history is, well, this is our syllabus for today. Okay, so without further delay, without further ado, let's straight away dive into the lecture. Let's begin. Okay, so modern history day 7, and today's targets were, well, let's call it road to 1947. Okay, so nationalism from 1939 to 47, then partition discussions, okay, negotiations, plus some revolutionary activities, because it was a torrid time back then. Let's start with question number 1. Regarding the August Offer 1940, consider the following statements. It was the first time the British government explicitly promised a constituent assembly consisting solely of Indians. It proposed the immediate establishment of a responsible government at the centre. It provided that no power would be transferred to government whose authority was denied by large minority groups. Okay, so August Offer was basically the offer given by the British to the Congress and other nationalist parties to secure their support for World War II. The British were involved in a very massive war against a very formidable enemy, Germany. Okay, so well, in Southeast Asia, it was the Japanese they were fighting against. So they wanted the support. They didn't want any disturbance. So that is why they offered something to the Indians. That was the August Offer. Now, it was the first time the British government explicitly promised that after the war is over, we will create a constituent assembly solely of Indians. So that was not the case. They said majority Indians or mostly of Indians, but not solely. Only Indians would be there. That was not the promise. It proposed the immediate establishment of a responsible government at the center. How can they do so? They were in a war. In a war, they won't allow a responsible government. Responsible government means, well, the Governor General is bound by the aid and advice of elected representatives. They couldn't have allowed that. Immediate, no. It provided that no power would be transferred to a government whose authority was denied by a large minority group. Yes, this was because they already knew that Muslim League is anti-Congress. So that is why they said that if any minority group opposes, well, that constitution won't be allowed. Okay, so no power would be transferred from British to Indians. They deliberately said that. So this part is absolutely correct. Okay, the answer would come out to be B. The next, why did Mahatma Gandhi chose the strategy of individual satyagraha in 1940 instead of a mass movement? So in 1940, Mahatma Gandhi did say that, well, you are involving India in a war, you should have asked the Indians first. So he was not happy with the British. But he also knew that the British were fighting against fascist forces. Now, fascism is something that Indian National Congress was not in agreement with. Mahatma Gandhi was certainly not. So he was caught in a conundrum. Okay. Of course, he did not want fascists to win. Okay. And that was the case. And if he was involved in a massive mass movement satyagraha, then the British efforts against the fascists would be undermined. He doesn't want fascists to win, but he has a grievance against British also. So he came up with the idea of a mild individual satyagraha, not mass movement. Some protesters would be in mild satyagraha position. So to ensure that British fight against fascism was not hampered, this was the reason why he went for a mild satyagraha, individual satyagraha. A. Next, with reference to Cripps' mission, which of the following was a provision regarding the post-war constitution? So Cripps' proposal given by Sir Stafford Cripps was, any province not prepared to accept the new constitution could frame its own. The Constituent Assembly would consist only of representatives elected from British province. No, it also included representatives from princely states. British government reserved the right to veto any constitution. Immediate transfer of power to national government with dominion status. No immediate power. Any province not prepared to accept the new constitution can reject it or create its own, or be in the status quo position under British rule. This was the offer. Okay, next. Consider the following pairs of national governments formed during Quit India movement and their locations. So during Quit India movement, certain parts of India became kind of independent for a short period of time. The British lost control. Okay. So, well, in Tamluk district of West Bengal, Jatiya Sarkar, provisional government was formed. The British lost control of this district. Then in Satara district, Prati Sarkar was formed. Again, the British lost control of Satara, but they regained it. They even did aerial bombardment. And national government in Balia district of United Provinces by Chittu Pandey, very famous. So yeah, all three are correctly matched. Okay, next. During Quit India movement, which leader was specifically associated with providing leadership to the non-violent Gandhian struggle while others engaged in sabotage? So, when Quit India movement was announced, the British were in a war. They could not have taken any chances. So, during Quit India movement, just a day before the launch of Quit India movement, the British police stormed the houses of nationalist leaders and they basically arrested most of the leaders. Okay, arrested most of the leaders, including Gandhi, Nehru, and put them in jail. So their idea was to make this movement leaderless. If it would be leaderless, then it would be easier for the British to control it. Okay, so that was the idea. So most of the male leadership was put in jail. Okay, top leadership. That is why women leadership had to arise. Okay, so Aruna Asif Ali basically carried on, provided leadership for the activities of sabotage, destroying government buildings, weaponry and all. Usha Mehta ran an underground radio. Sucheta Kriplani led the non-violent path. The other two did not. She led a non-violent path of, she was the leader now because Mahatma Gandhi was in jail and most tall Gandhian leaders were in jail. So it was Sucheta Kriplani which led the non-violent part of this Quit India movement. C. Okay, though Quit India movement quickly became violent also. Next. And it had the support of Gandhiji also. Gandhiji said that I won't make the same mistake as, though he did not call it a mistake, but I won't do the same thing as I did with Chauri Chaura incident. Okay, if this movement becomes violent, I'm ready to accept it also. This is here. The violence of brave is better than non-violence of cowardly. This statement was made by Gandhiji in context of, so Satara provisional government, the provisional government in Satara, where the British lost control, was led by Nana Patil. But there were some allegations that Nana Patil's people are involved in some violent acts. So they asked Gandhiji about it, that you are such a supporter of non-violence. Do you condemn Nana Patil's actions? And he refused to condemn. He said that at such a stage, now I won't stop the movement just because it became violent, unlike the Chauri Chaura incident and non-cooperation movement. Okay, so he gave this line: the violence of brave is better than non-violence of cowardly. So I don't want my satyagrahis to be cowardly. If they are becoming violent, so be it. That was the thing. B. Next. With reference to Indian National Army, consider the following statements. The idea of INA was first conceived by Subhash Chandra Bose in Berlin. The Indian Independence League, headed by Rash Bihari Bose, the legendary Rash Bihari Bose, invited Subhash Chandra Bose to lead the movement. INA was officially dissolved by Captain Mohan Singh in December 1942 due to differences with the Japanese. Okay, so the first idea of Indian National Army was by Captain Mohan Singh only. But the Japanese gave him this idea because the Japanese were fighting against the British and they captured many Indian soldiers. Okay, so the Japanese told Captain Mohan Bose that take these captured soldiers, these are Indians, create your own army and fight against the British. Okay, so Captain Mohan Bose conceived this idea of Indian National Army. Later, he had some differences with the Japanese. He did not align with Japanese. Therefore, he disbanded Indian National Army. Then, Rash Bihari Bose was already in Japan, well settled in Japan. He created Indian Independence League and he sought to revive Indian National Army. And he invited Subhash Chandra Bose to lead the movement. Okay? So, this is correct, but this is false. The idea was conceived by Captain Mohan Bose. So, the answer is B. Okay? Next. Which of the following journals, newspapers were associated with INA or Free India Center? So, Indian National Army, they, with the help of Japanese, captured some territories which were under the control of British in Southeast Asia. Over there, they formed provisional government and started Free India Center and a press also, which published newspapers. They published Azad Hind newspaper, Swatantra Bharat, Voice of India. Patthar Dabi was not. Okay, so answer is A. Right? Next. Regarding Subhash Chandra Bose's activities in Europe, consider the following. He founded the Free India Center in Berlin. He created the Indian Legion from Indian prisoners of war, which later became Indian National Army. He introduced Jai Hind as the national greeting, that you all, whenever like Hindus say Namaste, Muslims say Assalamu Alaikum, that's a form of greeting, right? So he said Jai Hind should be our national greeting. All three statements are correct, by the way. Okay. D. Next. Arzi Hakumat-e-Azad Hind, Provisional Government of Free India, was announced by Subhash Chandra Bose in. So what happened? You see, Indian National Army was aligned with Japan. Okay, it was made up of captured soldiers. Japanese army captured some soldiers of British Indian Army. Okay, so INA was that. Now Japan was very aggressive in Southeast Asia. It even captured many parts of China. It captured many parts of Malaysia, Singapore also. Now Singapore was under British rule, but then control of British. But then Japan captured it. And Japan gave it to Indian National Army to create a provisional government, temporary government until India is free over there. So they formed this temporary government in Singapore. Okay.